when it was hit first and right in the center, okay, I submit to you, they probably didn't want to kill as many people as they did in the North Tower. Okay, they probably didn't. That's where most of them died. They probably didn't want that. And listen, I'll do better than that. I'll do better than that. I'm an expert. I'm an anthrax attacks expert. You listening to me? I'm an anthrax attacks expert. And this is what I can tell you. The people that died, except for Robert Stevens, we're not sure about Robert Stevens. He's the first one. We're not sure about Robert Stevens. But the other 4 that died as a result of the following. Okay? The spores come through the envelopes. Got it? The spores come through the envelopes. The envelopes are taped shut. The point is not to kill people, exactly. Oh, we're going to engage in some reckless disregard because we have some important goals to accomplish here. But this isn't, so much the killing of Americans by Americans. So look, it's grievous, it's terrible. Let me tell you something. When people say to you, oh, we would never do that, it seems to me you ought to be able to say, could you please describe to me what shock and awe is? Tell me what shock and awe is. Do you have any questions about what shock and awe is? Do you mind if I say what shock and awe is? Well, on the basis of fraud. On the basis of fraud. On the basis of fraud. For the sake of power, they told us in no uncertain terms, the energy resources are there, blah, blah, blah. We don't like the way Saddam is behaving, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we bombed the hell out of a very densely populated city. We've been doing it since World War II, folks. We must have bombed at least 40 or 50 countries. Does anybody want to disagree with that? I mean, we can start counting them off if you'd like. I mean, this is who we are. Okay? So let's continue to investigate 9/11 truth, and I can talk all day about anthrax attacks. Okay? But I mean, let's reckon with the truths we know, which is this is describing a system that is murderous and doomed, and just extremely dangerous to the human species. Getting back to anthrax attacks, one of the ways I describe this technology is they are, on purpose, designing agents, species-threatening agents. Did you hear me? Species-threatening agents. No vaccine, no cure. That takes off, there's nothing to stop it. Okay, that's it, that's the deal. We've seen variations. The plague is an example. We're experimenting with plague, with gusto. And this so-called enemy isn't going to spend billions of dollars like we are to create the same technology. Of course not. They're going to get it from us. That's called business. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. That's really how bad it is. You want me to stop there? You want to...
You got about 10 minutes left, so...
Okay, fine, so
you wanted to have like an audience interactive thing, right?
Go ahead.
Well, at some point, the power elite is going to be threatened by the population level of the Earth. And they're going to have to do something about that, and maybe that's where that fits in.
Yeah, I mean, sir.
A little accident, and the next thing you know, a big swath of the population gets knocked out, and only a select few get the vaccine. Let
me say this.
No.
Is there a plan in place like that? Might there be? The answer is there might be, okay? This is what we know, okay? The disregard for human life is very strong among the elite who are running this. The disregard for human life is very strong. Now, does it have to do with concern about overpopulation? Well, I guess so. Is there a specific plan to sort of commit genocide for the sole purpose of reducing population? Maybe. Yeah. I mean, they've got plenty of reasons to kill people, okay? In fact, they're quite open to it, and we know it. And we know it. Yeah.
You mentioned species-specific biological weapons. Now, humans are a species, so that's us and that's them. And I've heard of race-specific biological weapons. No, I mean, just to clarify, this is for human.
The phrase I happen to have used was species-threatening. That was this. I mean, does everybody understand what I mean by species-threatening? Again, it's a germ for which there is neither vaccine nor cure. That's what they do in BSL-4 labs by definition. In 2002, okay, the total amount of BSL-4 space in the United States was 14,000 square feet. It was all, more than half of it was at Dietrich, okay? We're already up around 80, 90,000 square feet, and we've got plans, okay? In fact, one of the punchlines of my study is this. I mean, and this is classic military-industrial complex. This is the way it goes. You ready? Now listen close. All right? I can substantiate this all day long if you'd like. Just ask the question. But it goes like this, bottom line, okay? The company that made the weaponized anthrax that went into the letters of Daschle and Lake is the very same company that's getting all of the major contracts to manage and operate the brand new biodefense sector. Okay? In other words, they created the pretext, they created the demand for their own. Okay, that's it. That's military-industrial complex. Okay? If you don't have an enemy, you create one. Anthrax attacks is, after all, let's not forget, though somewhat clumsy, a false flag attack. Remember? And I mean, you could look at the letters and say, well, you know, I guess, sort of, maybe, vaguely. Do you remember the letters? I mean, where do they go? This is anthrax. Take penicillin, misspelled. Now. That's interesting. Take penicillin now. Well, that's nice of you. And then death to Israel, death to America, praise Allah. Right? And okay, so you can look at that and say, blah, blah, blah. Let's not make any bones about it. That is a real, and I will call it a central element in the run-up to Iraq War. That's a central element. It's perfectly obvious this is American-made stuff. It didn't matter. They went on about bentonite for a year and a half. There's no bentonite. Bentonite being the Iraqi additive for anthrax. There's no bentonite. ABC did it for a year and a half. Yeah, I mean, you know. And in fact, so. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering, have you heard, it's really a twofold question, and it may call for some speculation, but have you heard about the death of many of the world's top microbiologists that's been happening the last...
Somebody else asked me about that. It is the subject of a documentary called Anthrax Wars. Has anybody seen that? You probably have. Anthrax Wars. Remember you invited Nadler to the Transparency Conference and he ratted out, boo, Nadler. Anyway, Nadler actually, the co-producer of Anthrax Wars is actually the brother of Gerald Nadler. Gerald Nadler, okay, his House Judiciary Committee, Gerald Nadler asked the most penetrating question in the entire 2 days of the Amerithrax oversight hearing. I mean, basically what he said, scratching his head, he said, this was the question that Nadler's brother came up with. It was like this, he goes like this. Well, tell us, this same genetic fingerprint that supposedly nails Ivan's, well, Battelle and Dugway also had that stuff, plus they know how to weaponize. So how did you exclude them? Did you get that? Do you want me to do it one more time? You get it? Right. I mean, same, we said, look, I mean, I was with Frederick, okay? I had the damn, can I use a curse word or not?
Sure.
I had the fucking record before. I had the fucking record before it was on the internet. Okay, I had the fucking record before it was on the internet, right? It's the RMR 1029, where the stuff is going, okay? And it's going to Dugway, and it's going to Battelle. Hello?
Explain to everybody what Dugway and Battelle are.
Well, Battelle is the company I mentioned before. Battelle is the company that created the anthrax. How do I know that? I mean, nobody's asked me, but I'm going to tell you. The way I know that Battelle made the anthrax is, Battelle is managing and operating all of the intelligence agencies' biolabs. They're doing it at West Jefferson for the CIA, in a project called Clear Vision, and they're doing it at Dugway for the DIA in a project called Jefferson. Clear Vision, Jefferson. There's also another one called Bacchus. Okay, so Battelle is managing and operating all of these labs, basically in fact, Battelle has done basically CIA biolab work the whole time. Okay, so that's Battelle. Dugway, on the other hand,